¿Cuál es el número de proyecto?
¿Ah?
¿Tiene el número de proyecto?
¿El número?
¿El nombre?
Ah, Seaweed Bioplastic for
Okay.
Geofinding.
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening, we're Team 6, Group 121, and this is the party we're presenting the STEM 2025 year. The team members are Dana Plasencia, Jimena Reina, Paola Maya,
Raúl Rodríguez.
Tita Berumen, Santiago Cigarro.
moving on to the index. So this is the index that these covers all of the topics that we were presenting on our presentation today. Moving on. So plastic is basically a really big problem that we've been seeing, not just recently, all over these years. Basically, plastic is accumulating a lot and it takes centuries to decompose. So we decided as a team to make a prototype that is basically replacing the plastic. This will be made of seaweed, and it will be helpful because it doesn't need fertilizer or land, and it uses natural polymers to grow, and this results as an edible food packaging that we can use instead of plastic. We're also moving, instead of having the prototype, we also wanted to find a way to integrate it, not just making the prototype, but also finding places or markets that we can use to basically popularize our project.
And the research question is, under what specific environmental conditions does the seaweed prototype demonstrate resistance equivalent to or exceeding traditional plastic materials?
These are basically the two SDGs that we have, SDG number 11 and SDG number 6. However, we found other two SDGs that were more related to our project.
Okay, SDG number 13, climate action, yes. This is related, this wants to reduce the amount of pollution that damage our atmosphere. And it's related to our STEM project because with our new alternative of plastic, we can reduce the amount of plastic pollution of the atmosphere. And SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production. This basically wants to regulate how much we produce, how much we consume. And with our new alternative, we consume less and we produce less plastic. General objective is to reduce plastic pollution by implementing a new alternative made of seaweed that pollutes less and is more sustainable. Particular object one is to compare this alternative with other biodegradable plastics and see which overall is better. And the other particular object is to develop a more sustainable biodegradable alternative of plastic that pollutes less and is more sustainable.
The justification is that developing a biodegradable plastic using seaweed is more sustainable than using a natural, renewable, and accessible source. It's more accessible and sustainable. Testing and evaluating the properties of the material ensure that it can effectively replace the traditional plastic because the packaging has better quality and it degrades in a natural way.
The theoretical framework. While looking for a problem, we observed that a big factor for pollution was that single-use plastic packaging was a very big factor in polluting ecosystems such as oceans, rivers, landfills that we sometimes consume. This involves microplastics, which are a serious health hazard for us. So, to address this issue, our proposed solution is to create a biodegradable plastic based on seaweed, which contains components such as agar, alginate, and Caribbeans. That when mixed and processed properly, they can create plastic-like packaging that will decompose better and more biodegradable than normal plastics.
The hypothesis is that if the seaweed-based packaging demonstrates more resistance, strength, and biodegradability compared to plastic, then we will be able to use it as an eco-friendly replacement for plastic. And moving on with our variables, our independent variable is amine plastics with different ingredients, and our dependent variable is the plastic's biodegradability.
The flowchart. As you can see, we titled seaweed as an alternative to plastic. Our opening question is seaweed a viable material for creating food packaging that serves as an alternative to plastic? Based on this, we made our research question, which as mentioned already said, was under what specific circumstances, under what specific environmental conditions does the seaweed prototype demonstrate resistance equivalent to or exceeding traditional plastic materials? Then we made our why do this research, which was basically our justification that my teammate already said. Moving on, we made to the objectives, which my teammates already discussed, as well as the hypothesis. Top corner right, you can see the variables, which include the independent and the dependent, and which type of approach is used, which in this case is kind of mixed because we have qualitative, which is big samples and things that people might differ, like their likes and their preferences, and quantitative because we can see the numeric data such as costs and pollution, which is measurable by numbers. Then we also here is the relationship of the variables, and yes.
Well, now for the methods, we're going to talk a little about the type of investigation, and for type of investigation, we choose applied research, since we will use the scientific principles to solve a real-world environmental problematic that is happening currently in the world. And instead of only studying the seaway for its knowledge, we want to try and apply what we learned by creating a bioplastic, since we will use the scientific principles to solve a real-world environmental problematic that is happening currently in the world. And instead of only studying the seaway for its knowledge, we want to try and apply what we learned by creating